With so many cities suffering outrageous problems, huge challenges, population loss, job loss, crime, poverty, it's a pleasure to interview the mayor of a city that's thriving. Welcome to Forum 360. I'm Sally Henning. Our special guest is the mayor of that thriving city, University Heights in Northeast Ohio, and he's here to share with us how he gets it done, how he makes a very tough job look pretty easy. Welcome, Mr. Dylan Brennan, the mayor of University Heights.
Hi, Sally. Thanks for having me on.
Well,
nice to be here.
Thank you so much. And let me tell our audience a little bit about you. He's an attorney. We won't hold that against him since I might too. He comes from a family of teachers, real people, laborers, salespeople. His dad was a science teacher. His father was the president of his local union. And he grew up in Geneva on the lake, Geneva,
Well,
Ohio.
Geneva. There's Geneva and Geneva on the lake,
Okay.
but it's
all
all close.
close by. In Youngstown.
And in Youngstown.
And went to law school where he made law review. He interned for Congressman Eric Fingerhut, and he worked for the Justice Department, if you can't get a good job. And he clerked for Judge Kathleen Ann Sutula
Yes.
Sutula at the Court of Common Pleas before working at a boutique law firm, and then he started his own firm, which involved consumer protection cases, employment discrimination, animal rights. And he moved to University Heights originally in 1998. And he married Gina, and I'm told by your staff that she sings, writes, and runs her own pet sitting business.
That's right.
My intensive due diligence. And he has taken the city of University Heights to a better place where even, I guess in the last census, the population went up against the headwinds of what's been facing the other cities around the country. Welcome to Forum 360, Mayor Brennan, again.
Well, yeah, again, thank you for having me here. Yeah, our new census figure, 13,914 people. So while other cities around us have been losing population, we've moved up. And it was the first time our city had moved up in 50 years. Well, 1970 census was the last time we had positive population growth.
So I have to ask you, what prepared you? First of all, we'll talk about how you get there, but what prepared you to take on the role of mayor in your mind?
Well, I'd never held public office before. I'd never sought a public office until I ran for mayor.
This'll teach you.
Indeed. I had been a practicing attorney for 20 years. I'd long joked that I would practice for about 10 years and find the next thing I wanted to do and go do that. It took me 20. But I got there. And what inspired me was the 2016 election. I sat up all night watching with the rest of the country the election of the new president, and felt like there was something more I needed to be doing than what I was doing in the community. I'd been serving at that time on the board of a community development corporation, as one of the side things I was doing with practicing law. And so there were a lot of things I was attuned to regarding local issues, but felt like I could take it to the next level. I thought it might turn into a run for city council, but instead, I thought running for mayor would be where I could do the most good.
So tell me about the people in your lives who helped prepare you for this.
Well, my parents were a big part of it. My father was a science teacher. He was engaged in his community. He was politically engaged. He had served for a time on the board of Lake County Planned Parenthood. He had been the president of his teachers union. He had been very much involved in. He never ran for office himself, but he'd worked on campaigns. My mother did very much the same thing. She had gone from being the president of the Altar and Rosary Society of our local Catholic Church to starting a Now chapter in Ashtabula in the early 1980s. And
that's quite a switch.
It was.
I always say about my opinions, they've changed widely on a lot of different issues, but one thing remains the same. I'm right.
Yes.
So
yes.
Your mother sounds like a very wise woman.
And that's probably, she could probably say something very much the same. Yes, but she, so we moved to Youngstown because she wanted to. She'd been asked if she'd be interested in restarting the Now chapter there. She got a job in Youngstown, also then started that, the new Mahoning County, then new Mahoning County Now chapter. Lived down there for 4 years.
In Youngstown, you're talking
Youngstown,
about. Yeah.
yes. And eventually my mom got a job in New York City. I moved back in with my dad up in Ashtabula County, finished school in Geneva, where I'd started, and then went on to college and law school. And along the way, met a lot of people that were inspiring to me. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for contrasting reasons. Certainly, being an intern for Congressman Fingerhut was formative. Clerking for Judge Kathleen Ann Satula at the Court of Common Pleas, taught me a lot about, well, not just the law, but trying to find a way to find decency in folks when you see the exceptions every day.
I understand as part of your preparation for mayor, whether intentional or unintentional, you got involved in a lot of diversion programs, and a lot of going to various different courts and working on alternative programs.
Well, as a practicing lawyer, there were several different areas I worked in. I didn't, not as much in diversion, but certainly in litigation, primarily in civil litigation. But there were, when I left the firm I was practicing at and started my own firm in 2009, I wanted to take the litigation experience I had, continue to help people who needed help the most. That too is something that translates into being mayor. When you are practicing law and you have clients that you're trying to serve and seek justice for, the best day being a lawyer is one of the best days in life, because you get somebody a great result, you right a wrong, you get them compensated, you bring them justice. Being mayor is like being able to do that every day, all the time.
Versus just us.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking about being mayor,
yeah.
Tell us, I noticed you're wearing a University Heights pin. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. One of the first things that we did upon my becoming mayor, the city council had for a time felt like the city's branding needed updated. That one of the things that may have been, holding us back or keeping us to maybe some older thinking was the fact that our brand had really fallen out of step with the times, had fallen out of step with who we are. We're this young, vibrant community, and we had this old, increasingly stodgy logo. So we undertook a process to really examine who we are and have that brand exemplify who we are. And we have this logo now, which is a stylized U and H together. It actually mirrors the city grid. There are actually streets that correspond with the different parts of the U and the H. And at the same time, it's a diverse mosaic. It represents how our community is a diverse place, and that we all live in harmony in this place. There are a lot of places where diversity isn't necessarily a strength, but in University Heights, it certainly is. And there are times, of course, where there's friction, but most of the time, we all want the same thing, which is to live in a beautiful, walkable community where we can plant roots and really get to know our neighbors and thrive.
So University Heights is well known for being a city of beautiful homes.
Yes.
Is there something more to it?
Well, yes. I've always loved the City of Beautiful Homes moniker. Because the story I've been able to piece together about that is when University Heights became a city after the 1940 census, it was unique in that it didn't have a downtown, it didn't have commercial areas, it was just neighborhoods and neighborhoods and neighborhoods of homes. And I found a newspaper clipping that proclaimed that University Heights was the city of homes. And I could almost picture Mayor Aurelius, who was now the mayor of this new city in Ohio, saying, we're not just the city of homes, we're the city of beautiful homes. Now, I don't know that he actually said that, but we're just going to say that he did, and that's where the motto comes from. Officially, the city's motto today is University Heights, so much more than home. But the staying power of the City of Beautiful Homes is such that we're always going to be that. But we are more than beautiful homes. So, it's a beautiful community with a lot of great people. 10 minutes away from the academic, medical, and scientific hub of northeastern Ohio. That's where University Circle is, and we're 10 minutes away from 271. So we're right in the heart of the east side and in the middle of everything, and a destination in our own right.
So tell us something about University Heights that most people don't know and are surprised to learn.
Well, I think one thing that most people don't know is that we are the youngest community in Cuyahoga County, in that
The baby.
our median age is only 29.8 years. So we have a lot of young folks in our community. Now, some of that's because John Carroll University is there, and students are counted, where they go to school, where they are most of the time. But, Berea has Baldwin Wallace, they're not the youngest community, and South Euclid has Notre Dame, and they're not the youngest community, but we are. And the reason is not just because of the university, but because we have, you mentioned those beautiful homes. We have affordable homes. We have affordable housing. We have the kind of home that people aspire to own someday, and you can own it as your first home out of the gate. You can move to this community, live here for a few years, and what I'm finding increasingly is people who move to University Heights, they stay for 5 years or they stay for 50 years. The ones that stay for 5, that's fine. They may move out to Solon, they may move to Hudson, they may move further out, but then that opens up the home for the next young family that comes in, and that keeps our community young and energetic.
Has that been a surprise to you?
Only a pleasant surprise. As somebody who's lived in the community since 1998, I was one of those first-time home buyers who
it's an opportunity.
Yes, and I bucked the trend a little bit by buying my second home in University Heights as opposed to someplace else. When I was ready to buy again, I only bought a house 2 blocks away from the first house I'd owned. I just upgraded slightly, went from a shingled house to a brick house, and similar layout, but just a little bit more of what I had before.
And that opportunity is available for others.
Indeed.
You've been tuned into Forum 360. Our special guest today is Mayor Brennan from University Heights, a thriving city here in Northeast Ohio. On behalf of Forum 360, I'm Sally Henning. Well, tell us, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Speaking of, what has been the most surprising part about being mayor?
Well, the most surprising part about being mayor is just the level of engagement in the community. You hear from everybody all the time about a plethora of things. Some of them are things I could do something about. Some of them are things that aren't necessarily the mayor's responsibility, but that doesn't mean we can't help out. And some of them are things where you can make a real difference for folks, where you can intervene and help somebody out in a way that nobody's helped them before. It's one of the things that drove me to do this. It's one of the reasons I went into the practice of law. I wanted to be able to help people, I wanted to be able to serve, and being mayor is like that 10 times over. Every day is an opportunity.
What's been your biggest challenge? What's been the toughest thing?
By far, the pandemic. When I first got into office, there were so many things we wanted to do, and we had I'd worked with members of city council as I was running, looking at things that we all wanted to do. We had this list of things that we wanted to get done, and we got done quickly. We set this really aggressive pace and kept up with it. But then when the pandemic came, suddenly the circumstances around the world were setting the pace, and we were all just being dragged along. It was our community and, of course, every other one with it. And when it first happened, and I realized we were making these plans for having to go home and work and contingencies like that, it almost felt unreal. I had delivered the State of the City address in 2020 in February, and less than a week later, I took my first briefing from the infectious disease chair at Cleveland Clinic, along with my fellow mayors of my surrounding communities. And I realized suddenly what we were in for. And it seemed unreal. It seemed unreal to think that the world was about to go through this. And in University Heights, one of the first cases, confirmed cases of COVID in the state of Ohio was in our community. So wanting to make sure that our people were safe, and by our people I mean our residents certainly, but also the people that work for us. A lot of people went home, but firefighters, paramedics, police officers, service employees picking up trash, there's no remoting in for that work. You got to go in, and if you're transporting people who have COVID, before we knew what it was about, before we knew how it was transmitted, we had to be so careful. We didn't want to lose anybody.
You have access to great health care at University Heights. How do you keep liaison with such premier organizations? And has that been a challenge too?
I'm sorry, what has been a challenge?
Making sure that everyone has access to appropriate medical care where it looks like it's the best in the world and should be easy.
Well, yes. I mean,
nothing's easy.
No, nothing is. I mean, luckily, we are proximately located so close to clinic, to Cleveland Clinic, to university hospitals. Metro has a clinic as well, a very short distance from University Heights, just inside Cleveland Heights. There is no shortage of healthcare opportunities in University Heights. Our own response time for ambulances is about 2 minutes. It is amazing what we do in 1.84 square miles. We are the second most densely populated community in Cuyahoga County, which I think also makes us the second most densely populated community in the state.
What do you think is the key to your being able to motivate your employees to deal with these challenges? That's a tremendous response time.
Well, it is, and a lot of it is simply, having the kind of workplace where we keep morale up, where we respect each other, where we have open conversation, where we're able to work together for the common good of the community. I've never, in all the places I've ever worked, and I've worked some fine places, I've never had the opportunity to work with such a fine group of people as the people who work for the city of University Heights. We have just excellent folks at all levels in all departments doing wonderful work to serve the community, and it is an honor to work with them every day.
What's been the most unexpected thing that's happened as mayor?
Oh, the most unexpected thing.
Other than this interview.
Well, yeah, okay. No, this is an unexpected pleasure. But I think one of the things that was most unexpected was how there's never a routine day.
Okay.
Everything. You can have a to-do list, and it's good to have lists. It's good to have plans of what you're going to do, and then you have what actually happens in the day.
You take your first phone call.
Right. When you take that first phone call, when somebody comes in, when some sort of crisis type thing happens, whether it's in the community or within City Hall, but mostly, one of the things that folks clamor for and want to see in local government is they want to see regionalism. They want to see communities working together, that we're not all independently siloed. In Cuyahoga County, we have 59 separate municipal entities. I mean, we all know about Cleveland, of course, but you add them up and you have all these entities. And what people may not realize is that we work in concert, that I work with my fellow mayors, that I work with the county executive's office, that we work with our state reps, our state senators, that you have, in essence, this talent pool when you have 50 plus mayors of all these communities that are serving together on boards and commissions and helping to move the community forward. It may be that we each have our own separate fire department and police department, and that may seem a little inefficient, but at the same time you also have this brain trust of people who are all dedicated to moving Cuyahoga County, moving the region forward, all the surrounding counties with it. I'm on the board of NOACA, for instance.
What is NOACA?
NOACA is an area coordinating agency for transportation and the environment, and anytime there's an interstate improvement, or we're talking about Irishtown Bend, or we're studying the Hyperloop to maybe get to Chicago from Cleveland in just 28 minutes. These are things.
Pretty exciting.
Yes, and it was one of the first votes that I got to participate in as mayor and as a new member of the NOACA board. Was the study, was the preliminary funding to study whether this was feasible, and to see if this is something that we couldn't actually do. And there are things that we ought to be doing in transportation, such as improving rail and so on. And there's a lot of potential there yet, but there are so many consequential decisions that affect everybody in the region, and not just in our county, but in all the surrounding counties. And NOACA covers a 5-county region.
Tell us about Future Heights. I understand you're on their board.
Yes, I was on the Future Heights board before I became mayor. And that was the CDC I referred to earlier. It is a community development corporation that serves Cleveland Heights primarily, but also serves University Heights. Cleveland Heights and University Heights share a library system. We share a large border between our two cities. We share a common history. We share a school district. The Heights High, the Cleveland Heights High School in Cleveland Heights is the high school, the public high school for University Heights as well. So, the fortunes of Cleveland Heights and University Heights are tied together. We want to see Cleveland Heights succeed. They want to see us succeed. We work together on a number of things. I'm in touch with their mayor constantly, comparing notes and seeing about things we can work together on.
What's been your favorite part about being mayor? Or your favorite story?
Oh, my goodness.
You like stories.
I do like stories. My goodness, favorite story about being mayor. There's when I got to University Heights, when I got into the mayor's office, there was some unfinished business from the prior administration involving urban chicken coops. And there
Are
were
you going to cluck about that now?
Yes, we're going to cluck about that now. and we
Someone lay an egg over this?
No, yeah. Well, the sky didn't fall, I can tell you that.
The sky didn't fall. Even the chicken little.
Yes. So.
Are you going to crow about this? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. So in short, after much public discussion, we've allowed urban chicken coops, we've allowed backyard chicken coops in University Heights, 4 hens, no roosters, can't sell the eggs, can't slaughter chickens within city limits, but can have a coop, and you can feed your chickens, have your eggs, give away the eggs to your neighbors. And some of our residents do that. But along with that, we talked about the branding. We were debuting the new brand. We had a goodie bag at our Civic Awards dinner, and you had the normal things that you might expect in a bag like that. We had a pen, we had a chip clip, we had some notepads, and we also had a little toy chicken that had a little University Heights T-shirt on it featuring this logo.
A chicken in every bag?
A chicken in every bag. That's right. And they were a hit. Kids wanted them. We couldn't give them away fast enough. There were so many people who wanted these chickens, and eventually the question was put, what's the chicken's name? So we had a naming contest, and it was for the kids. Plenty of adults entered it. Most of the chicken names that were suggested were frittata, cordon bleu, nugget, tender. It's like everybody wanted to cook the chicken, but some of the kids, 2 of the kids, came up with the same name, and we knew it was right, and they both were the winners. Chicken's name is Cooper.
Cooper.
We all love a good pun.
Cute.
We all love a good pun. But then, to take it to the next level, at the Memorial Day Parade in 2019, we debuted Cooper the chicken as the brand ambassador. We located a chicken suit. We put somebody in it. We won't say who. And that person walked the parade route in 90-degree heat, dressed as Cooper the chicken, and lived to tell.
From hard-boiled attorney to Cooper's boss.
Yes. As we like to say, Cooper lives in the basement. He has an origin story. He lives in the basement. We feed him day-old bagels. We don't pay Cooper.
Is Cooper an empty nester?
Well, Cooper is the only rooster that's allowed to live in University Heights. Everybody else are hens, which means, I guess, all the hens are Coopers.
What's next for you?
What's next is I'm going to keep on being mayor. I was just reelected last year. I have 3.5 years ahead of me. Whatever I'm doing, I love the public service aspect of what I do. Whether I was in service as an attorney in private practice or doing this role now, helping people, moving the community forward, seeking justice, doing things that just elevate the community. I intend to do that as long as I'm able.
Now, we talked a minute ago about the children and the chicken contest.
Yes.
But seriously about children,
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for children who might be interested in following your footsteps, being mayor, or maybe just being involved with government in some way, or helping to make the world a better place?
Well, if anytime children are interested, there's always a place already, to start. You don't have to wait to be a particular age or have a particular degree to get out there and be a part of what's going on. You don't have to have a degree in law or in public administration. Those are nice things. To get out and help your neighbors, to volunteer at City Hall, to volunteer at nonprofits, and to walk streets, knock doors, and collect food. Whatever it is, it can be something as small as maybe you have a senior neighbor who needs help with moving a trash can or mowing a lawn, or it can be that there are committees that various city halls have for various events. There isn't necessarily an age requirement to help out with a parade event or with a festival event, and those things that move the community forward. You will find people who are like-minded, who want to see your community, be more of what it is and be better, even still, than what it already is. So whether it's in education, whether it's through reading and being engaged, that's the way forward. That's the way to move the community forward. And children of any age can always get more involved.
On behalf of Forum 360, I'd like to thank our special guest today, Mayor Brennan from that thriving city, University Heights. We can see why it's improving and gaining in population. Thank you so much. On behalf of Forum 360, I'm Sally Henning.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.